Well, back home now, and in a surprise move, the government's controversial Treaty Principles Bill will be introduced to Parliament tomorrow, about 2 weeks earlier than expected. Te Pāti Māori claims it's an attempt to get ahead of a hīkoi set to arrive at Parliament on November 19th. But ACT leader David Seymour is calling that a conspiracy. Meanwhile, the response to the earlier...
And he would know.
Introduction of the Waitangi Tribunal has released a second scathing report into the bill. Nick Trubridge has the story.
An attempt to avoid more of this, or business as usual. Whatever the answer, the Treaty Principles Bill hits the House tomorrow. Cue political firestorm.
What we've seen is a really disturbing individual, proud of the disruption and the disharmony that he's creating in Aotearoa.
Look, I think Te Pāti Māori see conspiracies nearly everywhere.
This was the turnout for a hīkoi in May in response to the coalition government's policies impacting Māori. Another one, which organisers predict could involve 50,000 people, is planned in response to the bill. It was due to reach Parliament on November 19, the day after the bill's original introduction date. Seymour says the date's been brought forward because sometimes dates simply change.
Basically because we got all the work we needed to get done, got the policy agreed, got it through Cabinet, had the bill drafted and ready to go.
The Māori Party says whatever the date, the damage is done.
Well, it already has divided a country and it hasn't even hit the House yet. And so we've got a minister and a leader of an ACT party who has a premeditated agenda, which is to allow a 6-month period for a racist agenda to run its course.
The uproar coincides with the release of the Waitangi Tribunal's second report on the bill. It hasn't held back, saying the Crown's process to develop the bill has deliberately excluded any consultation with the Māori treaty partner. It adds if the bill remained on the statute book for a considerable amount of time or was never repealed, it could mean the end of the treaty. It also found if this bill were to be enacted, it would be the worst, most comprehensive breach of the treaty in modern times.
I think that the Waitangi Tribunal...
I'm sure Richard Prebble will sort all those problems out though, won't he? I'm sure he's getting ready to make sure that we hold firm to the true intention and meaning of the treaty. I think Richard Prebble is the man for the job.
Comprehensive breach of the treaty in modern times.
I think that the Waitangi Tribunal's had 50 years to define the principles. They've come up with a set of ideas that are actually highly divisive. We are doing their job for them.
As for the hīkoi, expect scenes like this, and then some, organisers say.
I think 50,000 is a conservative if you're thinking about the amount of people that will be involved from top to bottom at all the different stages. The cumulative number, I think, will be well over that.
As the bill's architect prepares for his big day.
There you go. I've been speaking to Eru tonight because I contacted him again and said if he wanted to come on, and he says they're in a hui tonight. Big plan, but we'll definitely try and connect with Eru again through this process. Moana, we'll just throw it to you, mate. What are your thoughts?
Well, I guess one of the key issues I've always questioned about this is backing up the tribunal when it says that David Seymour's bill is a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. And what many of us are asking is, how is anybody being undermined by Te Tiriti? David Seymour has advocated for a national conversation or a debate, but I was chairing something at a Tauranga Book Festival the other weekend, and it was a full room, mainly Pākehā, and I asked the audience to put up their hands if they felt confident and comfortable about debating or even engaging in a national conversation around Te Tiriti. And about 4 people put their hands up, and I knew 2 of them. They were my Māori guests. So you can't have a genuine conversation when the parameters for it have been unilaterally dictated, and about the foundational agreement of this country without any engagement with Māori. So the process of even getting this bill to where it is, the rewriting of it is extremely inflammatory, and it challenges any notion that there's a genuine attempt to have an engaged national conversation.
One of the things that I think is strangest as well is nobody public-wise, obviously behind the scenes to do, know even what the wording of this bill's going to be until tomorrow. The Herald talked about that today, and they did an article on it. Treaty Principles Bill wording to be revealed tomorrow amid fierce criticism. So at the moment, I mean, Moana, we agree with you about consultation and involving Māori in the conversation, but the conversation that they're talking about, no one even knows what the parameters are yet, because no one's seen the wording yet until it gets put before the House tomorrow.
Well, we've had conversations with David Seymour. I've interviewed him. There have been countless interviews. There have been articles on their website which indicate what the wording will be like, and it basically writes Māori out of the equation. Yeah. It takes out, it excludes the indigeneity, the tangata whenua status of Māori. So that is a serious rewrite, and the tribunal has been quite clear that the bill is based on a flawless policy rationale. Like I say, what is the problem that we're trying to solve here? Has been generous in saying it was novel in its treaty interpretations, fashioned on a disingenuous historical narrative and distorted the text of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. So I had people on my show like Matthew Hooton, and Chris Van Essen, and you wouldn't call them raging lefties. Matthew described the rewrite as we know it, and we have no reason to believe it won't be much different from that, as highly radical, not conservative, but highly radical, both in the process that's been adopted to get the bill to where it is, and the way that Māori have been erased from the equation in the proposed text.